right. Good. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to a live session with Dr. Sean Pastuch. And I'm super excited. If you read the email, you know a little bit of my backstory with the doc. And today, we're going to dig into some stuff that I think is way too common in our industry, really any industry, but it's super common in our industry, I think, because most people get into this because they have a passion for helping and serving people. And that passion sometimes goes a little too far, and then we lose people. And so we are fortunate to have Sean keynoting our Super Coach Summit coming up at the end of August. And so if you like what you're hearing today, you should probably come, and you're going to get even more of where that came from. So we do have chats open. So there is chat. If you're watching on Facebook, they have comments there. We have YouTube, we've got comments there. And also on Riverside, there is chat too. So if you want to throw stuff in there, if you have questions, I will bring them in as we're going along here. I'll kind of moderate between all the screens, but that was a lengthy intro. Dr. Sean, thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for the event in August. I think it's going to be great.
It's going to be a blast. We're excited to have you. So you have this saying called freedom without compromise. And I want you to just elaborate on that a little bit more for us.
Well, then we start with what a compromise is and what a compromise is not. When people hear the word compromise, oftentimes what they're thinking is like, oh, I want Chinese food. My wife wants Japanese. I want my wife to be happy, so we'll go get Japanese food. Are you saying I should never compromise? We should always get Chinese when I want it? No, it's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm talking about is we should absolutely never compromise on the mission, the vision, and the values of our lives or our careers. And as long as we know what our mission, vision, and values for our lives and our careers are, then we have very easy yes-no decisions for everything that we do and don't do. And what happens is we're taught when we're young, and it just permeates as we get older, that compromise is what we should seek. Avoid upsetting the apple cart. Do not make other people upset. Avoid that. It's less so in the United States. It's way more so in Canada and in Europe, right? The tall poppy gets cut. Mm-hmm. But it's still here, and it's pervasive, and you can see it in people who do jobs that they don't love. You can see it in people who do jobs that they do love but don't make a living doing it. You can see it in people who are reasonably healthy but would like to be significantly healthier. You see it in people who tell you, I have a bad back. I've always had it. It's just something I got to deal with. That's a compromise. All of these are examples of compromises that we need to resist in the strongest possible way. And when we do, we can teach our clients to do the same thing.
So when we take a coach that's just getting started, we talk about this idea of mission, vision, values. Right. Mm-hmm. Most coaches get into the industry because they're like, I just want to help people, or I went through this thing. I solved it for myself. I figured it out. I think I can help other people do this as well. And so should a coach start with that before they even have any clients? Or is it like, go get some clients and then we kind of figure this out as we go along?
I want to debate the premise with you for a moment because I don't think that's why most coaches start. I think it's a nice, comfortable thing that we all say because it's virtuous and it sounds great. Yep. But I think most coaches and trainers start because we like working out. We're comfortable in the gym, and it seems like a fun way to make a living. Helping people is a cool byproduct of that. But I don't think people start into it with the idea of, I want to help as many people as I possibly can. Take that for what it is, right?
Right.
I think that if we did come into it with the thought process of, I want to help as many people as I can, as deeply as I possibly can, and we really pulled that thread, we would realize that the only way to do that is to make enough money to be excellent at it. Right. So the only way that we can do that is by doing it full time. And most coaches aren't doing that. Do you follow me there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the question that you asked, can you ask it one more time?
Yeah. So when we think about this, you know, if I'm a new coach and this is what I want to do, right? And I want to create a career out of this, right? Not just a side hustle or a job. I want to create a career out of this. This idea of mission, I think if we polled a bunch of people, right, and we just went and we're talking to random trainers and nutritionists and health coaches and that, and we say, hey, what's your mission, vision, purpose? Like we would just get a lot of like,
I think every new
I want to help people.
I think every new coach, and when I say new coach, I'm talking about 1 year 0 to year 2. should have the same mission. I want to love my career.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, let that be your mission for the first 1 to even maybe 3 or 4 years. And what that means is you don't have a niche. You don't know who you like working with yet. You have to say yes to all different kinds of clients. You have to learn to work with introverts, extroverts, athletes, people who are not athletic, tough guys, wimpy guys, attractive people, ugly people, fat people, thin people, old people, young people. You have to work with all of them because you don't even know who you're really going to like working with. You just think you have an idea right now.
Mm-hmm.
So spend the first few years of your career figuring out which of these people do I want to become great for? And then start selectively building your client roster out of more and more people who are the ones that you enjoy working with the most. But do it based on experience, not on assumption. After 2 to 3 years of doing that, you can start to think about, okay, why do I love working with this kind of person? What is it about this kind of person that excites me and inspires me? And then you can start to design your mission for your business around what that person needs. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Do you think that that can only be done in an offline setting, or could a coach that wants to do more virtual coaching be able to accomplish this a similar?
I think it can definitely be done online as well. The thing about online is that it's harder to make a living in the short term, right? It's easier when there's people right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to explain as much. People can see you doing it. When you go online, you have to be able to represent yourself like a billboard on social media and email or whatever the case is going to be for that. I believe the best online businesses start in person. You help somebody in person, you transition them to online, and then they can tell their friends, this person helps me, and I don't have to be in person to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can start to build an online business. The other thing is online businesses, I find, typically have a requirement that the client has a higher training age. So it's going to be much more difficult to work with somebody who's never exercised before online or somebody who hasn't exercised in 20 years online.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So you kind of had this story of like a rock bottom story of you were obviously doing stuff you enjoyed because you were spending a lot of time doing it, but weren't necessarily getting the fruits of your labor, and you were missing out on other areas of your life that were important to you. And then you had a point where you made the change to decide that I'm not going to go this way anymore. I'm kind of going to create a new set of rules.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let's kind of expand and maybe explore that a little bit, and like maybe the trap that you got caught into, because probably I think a lot of people fall into a similar trap where they love what they're doing and they're just so focused on it that other areas of their life get neglected.
For clarity, I hit rock bottom and then I went and bought a drill because I thought I could get lower. The rock bottom that I hit was my wife telling me that she didn't want to be a single mother because I was working 80 to 90-hour weeks and I wasn't making any money. And I was just grinding, thinking like one day it's gonna pay off. One day it's gonna pay off. And it did, but not the way I thought that it would. And not because of what I did. The drilling for oil below the rock bottom was when I lost $13,000 to $15,000 of my wife saved by trying to run an event that was profitable the year before and lost 26 grand between me and my partner the next year. That was it. That was the end. I was like, that's it. I will not allow it to get lower than this. I cried in my kitchen like a child because I felt emasculated. I lost $13,000 of my wife's $15,000. That's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
That led me to looking at my life and saying, I can't keep doing it this way. Like you have to stop convincing yourself that you're doing the right things because all of the evidence in the world is saying you're not. And so the pivot was to delegate things to people that I was never prepared to delegate before, to make even less money in the short term to do that. So I owned a CrossFit gym and I owned a rehab clinic and I owned the event company. I got out of the event company. I just gave it to the other person. I had a partner. I said, it's yours. I don't want it anymore. All the assets, yours. I don't care. Get me out. I put somebody who was already coaching in the gym, I put them in charge of managing the gym. And I told them, the first, I forget how many dollars it was, but I said, any profit that we make, the first X amount of it is yours. Just make this place successful. Treat it like you own it. And now he does. And I focused all of my effort on the thing that had the most upside for me, which was my clinic, where I was treating people in a way that wasn't medical. I was treating people who wanted to be able to get out of pain without going to the doctor or missing the gym. And so I was really functioning like a high-level coach in a clinical setting. And that led to people flying in to see me from all over the world because all their doctors were telling them to do was, if it hurts, don't do it. Stop exercising. Stop lifting heavy weights like that. And then the trainers that they were hiring were telling them, if it hurts, we can work around it. And those are the same answer. And so once I realized that that was the thing that people wanted to stop doing, they wanted to stop modifying and scaling, and they wanted to start solving, I knew I had something that I could really run with.
So for you, it was almost just like, I've kind of taken on too much and I can't necessarily do it all at a high level. And I need to cut back on the things that aren't maybe as meaningful, as profitable, and just focus on the single thing. Is that an accurate summary?
It's easy. Yeah, it's easy for trainers to think in the way of like, I have a lot of stuff I need to do and I don't have time for more stuff. I'm making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. It's not enough, but my schedule is totally full. Right? So if your client came to you and said, I want to get more fitness, I want to get more performance, I want to get more health, but I don't have more time to come and work out, I don't have time to prepare my food, it's obvious that we would tell them, we need to reshuffle your time. We need to look at what you're doing and take some things out that you don't need to do and put these things in instead. Will there be some stress with that? Yes, of course. And am I oversimplifying? Yes, of course. But the trainer needs to think of things the same way. What are the things that are the most valuable to you? Let's say one-on-one training or high-ticket online program design. Great. Fill that before you allow yourself to do the other stuff. Schedule that before you do the other stuff. And I would even urge coaches and trainers to leave empty time slots on the schedule where you would take a training client, but don't have one yet. And do not fill that with a lower price thing. Because two things are going to happen. One, that's going to be painful. Every day that you show up for work and you see that I have an open hour when I could be making $25, but I'm making zero because I promised myself I'm going to make 60, 70, 100. That sucks. Do that long enough, it's going to push you to either get out of the industry or get out of your gym and go find people who want to work with you. And soon your schedule will be full.
So does a coach have to take 2 steps backward in order to take a step forward? Or is it able to like look at the situation now, right? And is it matter of just like reprioritizing what is going on?
When we teach marketing at Active Life, we teach what we call plain sight marketing. So what that means is the reason we called it that is because your clients are hiding in plain sight. The short answer is no, you don't have to go backwards at all. So for the people who are watching this, who are coaching group class, for example, there are personal training and online remote clients right there in that room with you. The thought that remote clients are only people who live across the country is a backwards way of thinking. It's most likely they're going to be in your town. When you go look at your analytics on Instagram, most of your followers are local-ish. 20% are going to be from within a 20-mile radius. So it's most likely your next client. If you're coaching a group class, all you need to do is look around at all the people who are still scaling or modifying or not getting the results that they signed up for 6 months after they start. Walk up to all of those people and offer them more help. That's the simplest way to start. And a lot of them are going to say, yes, I'd like more help. You can offer it to them one-on-one and charge them for it.
Right. I like that. Give me more of that. If there's a coach who is looking to get more clients, what are some of the other strategies in the toolbox that you guys like to use?
Where's the coach?
So the coach is, let's go like this. Coach is working at big box gym. And so typical Lifetime, Equinox, feeds them clients. How would they take that next step? Or how would they start marketing themselves inside of that kind of bigger ecosystem?
Every single client at those gyms gets a free assessment and a free personal training session in both Equinox and Lifetime. Now, let's say you're working in a gym and they don't get that. Or let's say you're working in an Equinox or a Lifetime and they've already taken advantage of it. Good news. You get another one. You're going to do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Training begets training. So if people see you training people, they're going to want to train with you. They're going to at least become curious about what training with you might be like. It's like the person who goes to the bar and isn't talking to anybody. Nobody's interested in that person. If you're the person in the bar who everybody is talking to, everybody wants to know why everybody is talking to you. So the more training that you can do, the better, even if you're bringing your friends in to do it with them. Now, how do you get these people to start doing it with you? Number one, you're constantly there. Like, be there more than anybody else. And when you're there, be helpful, be cleaning up, be smiling, be offering spots. Just make yourself the person who everybody there knows and knows to be helpful. That's step one. Step two, every one of those gyms has a roster of members who nobody's ever called. What else are you doing? Call every single one of them and let them know that they have a personal training assessment and a personal training session free and available to them in their membership. Ask if they'd like to schedule it with you. You're going to get told no 99 times out of 100. But if you're able to make one call every minute, because most people aren't even going to pick up the phone, those are no's. One call every minute. It's reasonable that you would schedule a new client for a free assessment, a free training session every 3 hours. That's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those people do you need before you have enough paying clients that you don't have to do that anymore? Another thing that I would do, I used to take water bottles and hide them around the gym in the areas where I knew people who didn't really know what they were doing would go work out. The pec deck, the ellipticals, the areas people go to hide. And then I would go over and I would ask them, hey, excuse me, is this yours? They'd say, oh, no. They would take their earphone out. Why would they take their earphone out? Because I'm asking them a courteous question. Is this your water bottle? I don't want to throw it away if it's yours. Oh, no, that's not mine. Okay, great. What's your name, by the way? I see you here all the time. Jen. Nice to meet you, Jen. I'm Sean. Nice to meet you, Sean. And they're going to be friendly, and you don't have to go any further than that. That's the whole first conversation. You just got that person's name. Do not keep talking to them. Let them get back to their workout. But when they're done, you can now walk over to them. How was the workout today, Jen? Good. What are you working on? Interesting. How's it going? Want help with that? Or when they walk in next time. Hey, Jen, what are you doing today? Elliptical again? Can I show you some cool things? Sure. This is how you start to become the person everybody knows and wants to work with.
Let's flip the script. I like this. Let's give you another scenario. So let's say you are not working at a big box gym. Your ultimate goal is to become an online coach, bought into that world, and you feel like that's what you want. You just are recently certified. You recently got a certification. Let's keep it in the fitness world just because that's kind of like your world. So you recently got your fitness certification. You're not working anywhere. What would be kind of your first suggestions for that coach that just recently got certified? They ultimately want to be online, but they don't have a ton of experience training anyone outside of themselves.
Start training people for free, in person or online. And you can do that with one person, and then the next person you have to charge. So you tell a friend, tell a family member, I really need help getting good at this. Can I be your trainer for free for 3 months? And I would love for you to give me feedback about how I can do things better and what I'm doing well so I can hone my skills. After month 1, you can bring on somebody else, a second free person if you want. Ideally, you're selling people in the interim, but you might not. By the time you're in month 3, you can have 3 free people you're working with. All 3 of these free people know at the end of 3 months working with you for free, you're going to offer them to continue working with you for pay. One of them is going to stick. The thought that you would get a certification and start seeing clients today is crazy town. You might, but it's not what you should expect. There is a timeline of dues you need to pay to be able to get a roster of clients who want to work with you. Get a job in a commercial gym, even if it's not where you want it to be. Just get used to the reps for a short period of time. I had a guy apply for a job with us at Active Life a few weeks ago. Really entrepreneurial, go-getter, hustle hard kind of guy, working at Lifetime right now. He knows at Active Life, we pay trainers a salary that's over $100,000 a year. Nobody else is touching that. And he doesn't have to sell if he works for us. He wants to come work for us. His DM to me was, can I do it from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.? Immediately disqualified. You can't get the job. But my advice to him was, stick it out at Lifetime. You don't know enough about the training business to know that you shouldn't ask me that kind of a stupid question. You don't even know why you got disqualified, because you haven't built a full book of business at Lifetime yet. See what it takes to build a full book of business at Lifetime. Then see what it takes to maintain that full book of business at Lifetime. Then do a reverse audit on how you got there. Then decide, because now you're making enough money that you're not coming to me in a mode of desperation. If you still want to work for Active Life at that point, you reach out and you're saying, I just want a different lifestyle. I know how to do this. I know I can do this. I don't want to do it. I want to work for you guys. Great. Now we can talk. And you know that you can leave that gym and do it again on your own anywhere. That was the advice I gave him.
So if we flipped a script and flipped the profession, right, and went more nutrition coaching, is there anything you might change about that versus being like a video fitness? Or is it really just like, hey, we're changing the service that you're providing to people?
It's hard for me I don't have experience as a nutrition coach. What I would say to nutrition coaches, and I do have inherent bias in this, is that generally speaking, I think that nutrition coaching has a lot more to do with the reasons why the person is eating poorly than what the person is eating. And so what I would recommend to nutrition coaches, no different than fitness coaches, is become a master at asking questions that have people start to question their own rationale for things. Because I think that as a nutrition coach, you're going to go much further if you allow people to not have to become a slave to a different scale, but instead help people start to think differently about food and decisions. That would be my advice to a nutrition coach. And so I would, in that world, I'm focusing on just getting into rooms with smart people who I can just pepper with questions.
I love it. I like it. Well, this is all meant to be a preview of what is to come. And so is there anything that you want to convey about the thing that you're going to go deeper into? Because you're going to get a lot more than 20 minutes, right? When you come out to Reston, Virginia and chat with us.
Yeah. When I come out to Reston, Virginia and chat with you, what I want people to know is that I'm going to give it all away. All of it. I can't even give it all away from the stage. There's too much. And I find that when we try to teach business from the stage, it becomes talk after talk after talk of people trying to remember what each of the people said that was smart about how they should run their business. And then they go home with what do I do first? Mm-hmm. And then they forget what they were supposed to do second, right? So when you come to the event, first and foremost, leave with one thing. Focus on one thing that you're going to go all in on. If it's something that I talked about, come talk to me about it. I want you guys to approach me at the event before and after I speak. I come to events because I want to be around people. I don't come to events because I need to come to events. I enjoy being around people who want to learn, who inspire me, who ask me questions that I haven't been asked before. I love it. So that's first of all. I asked our team to build for people who come to Coach Catalyst a package that we can give to them that would make it unreasonable they would ever hire us for this simple purpose of teaching them how to build a business. I want to give you guys so much that you don't need to hire somebody to give you anything about building a business. And then once you have it, once you're sitting there with that on your phone, in your computer, whatever you brought with you, I'm going to ask you to be able to put aside thinking about business for a moment. And then we're going to talk about how you become the person who would already be successful. And that, to me, is significantly more impactful and significantly more difficult and significantly simpler than building a business.
I love it. I love it. Well, you have to come to find out what all that, you're going to have to come to the event to find out the ending to all of that.
Well,
so I just try. Go ahead.
Stuff we're going to give to people at that event, we don't give to people online. We haven't even given it away before. We're building a custom for your event so that people who come get enough value out of a series of documents and videos and activities that we give to them, that they can justify paying for Coach Catalyst next year off of what they got from me. And then I'm going to teach them how to start thinking about who they want to be.
I love it, man. That's why you're coming to Reston, Virginia to hang out with us. That's right. the kind of people that, I mean, that's our litmus test for people that we bring into the event. Who wants to mix it up more with people outside of the time that they're on stage? Because that's ultimately the best events are, you have great speakers. That's just a given, right? The people that are going to provide great information, but what happens between those talks, what happens at lunchtime, what happens at dinner time, what happens after the event, before the event, and every single speaker that's coming into the event wants to interact outside of the actual event, and they want to help people. That's the cool thing. They ultimately they believe in this industry, and they believe in the people to help change lives at the end of the day. And so we can't ever have too many coaches in the world. I think coaching is one of the most noble professions, but we have taken it and we have almost kind of created a martyr system out of it, where I'm a coach, but I can't necessarily make a good living. And so I can justify it because I'm helping people, which is not a recipe for staying in this industry for the next 20, 30 years and retiring as a coach rather than going and becoming an insurance agent. So, Sean, any last parting words? I appreciate what you've shared today.
Come with this mindset to Coach Catalyst. If you're one of the coaches right now who struggles with money, you think about money and it gives you anxiety. Remember that if you put money on a pedestal and believe that the only people who have it are people who've earned it in a way that is not a way that you would like to earn it, it's going to make it harder for you to become wealthy. And the harder it is for you to become wealthy, the less freedom you have to help the people you want to help. So come ready to learn how to change your mindset around money so that you can allow it to come into your life and use it for the good that you're trying to give to people right now.
I love it, man. That's awesome stuff. So thank you so much for hanging out, and I'm excited to see you. It's about a month from today. So